Hi everyone. This is my presentation on our discussion on psychoneuroimmunology. So I looked at the impact of stress on the onset and progression of type 1 diabetes. So we've all kind of looked at what this topic is about, but to go over it again, it's the study of the interaction between the psychological and the nervous and immune systems of the body. So a lot of researchers have found that both physical and emotional stress can have a very real effect on the body. And some of these examples are cancers, MS, arthritis, and what I looked at was type 1 diabetes. So there are two different types, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is when an individual's pancreas is not making enough insulin or is making very little insulin. And this is simply just caused by an autoimmune reaction where the body destroys these cells in the pancreas, and this inhibits their ability to break down the blood glucose. So currently there's no cure for this, and therefore the individual will be involved in a diabetes care on a day-to-day basis. So it is very demanding. So a couple ways stress impacts this is both physiologically and looking at their lifestyle. So when stress is perceived in the brain of any individual, it releases the hormone epinephrine, which is adrenaline and cortisol. Um, and this triggers the liver to produce extra glucose. This is for your fight or flight response. So this can be very scary for an individual diagnosed with type 1 because the sudden increase in blood glucose will make the individual hyperglycemic, and just that extra glucose energy will just pile up and not be able to reach the cells. So also this can impact their lifestyle. So when an individual is stressed, they are less likely to take care of themselves. So when it comes to controlling type 1, an illness that relies so heavily on self-monitoring and self-care, failing to do so can have dire consequences, which may lead to later complications if left untreated. So I found that diabetes burnout is a very prevalent thing in type 1 individuals because it is so demanding. So they will get into a habit of not taking care of themselves or not monitoring their levels. And this can lead to just exercising less, poor eating habits, and an increase in smoking. So a couple ways that I found of how the individual can manage the stress is CBT, which we have looked at, and the involvement of the patient as a co-manager in this treatment process, which involves insulin injections, dietary control, weight control, and exercise. So I believe this is so important because their active involvement in their healing process can help build a sense of autonomy and independence. So they kind of take on that treatment for themselves. And then CBT, we've all looked at, which is self-observation, self-monitoring, stimulus control, self-reinforcement, and relaxation techniques. So I found that according to the Journal of Clinical Psychology in Medical Settings, they found that 5 out of 6 children displayed improvement on at least one self-care behavior. And it also suggested that CBT was effective in diminishing diabetes-related stress in 2 of the participants. So that was pretty cool to find, and I'm sure a lot of you all have found that CBT has helped in your specific topic area too. And so here are my references.